Hey, I hope you're doing well. Quick thought today, after working with a student yesterday who was pretty unique. I see a lot. I've seen a lot over the years. This student had a particular stroke, his forehand ground stroke, that had just spiraled in a very, very, very negative direction. And as it felt more uncomfortable, he analyzed it more and tried to tweak it more and made it worse. And it was more uncomfortable and like thought about it more. And like he was just classic kind of overanalyzer and tried to fix his own shot without ever actually looking at it, just going based on feel and around and around and around and around until basically he struggles to just hit the ball now. He went from being a solid 4-0, 4-5 player to just like his swing is so tight and rigid and jerky and unnatural and uncomfortable now that he's close to giving up tennis. And so we worked on his forehand yesterday. And I just want to highlight the importance. This is absolutely not to poke fun at him at all. What I'm about to show you. I'm about to show you a replay of him working. This is very early. We did an initial evaluation and analysis. I showed him what he's doing currently, compared it to some pros, and basically made a thesis statement. Okay, here's what we need to focus on. And that statement, in a nutshell, was we've got to focus on your body. He's been so enamored and fixated with different hand and racket face positions and elbow positions and like flipping the hand and like next gen, stuff. And it's like, and so my main message to him from the outset was we need to totally leave all that, the back burner, forget about it, and we need to refocus on your body. So I asked him to make some slow shadow swings and just focus on that. Just focus on the initiation of the body and just keeping the arm like really passive and really relaxed. So I was watching him do the shadow swings and I caught this and I had to stop and show him and call him over. And I want you to watch him do this shot. So that's the context. So that's everything that I've told him up until this point. This is like 5 minutes into him actually starting to practice and work on the stuff that I initially, pointed out to him. I want you to watch his face and his hands and tell me if this looks like somebody who's focusing on just using their body effectively. It's just like I can't help but laugh at it because I'm standing behind the iPad, right? And so I know what I just told him and the focus that I'm asking him to do. And I'm watching his face and I'm watching his hands and I'm like, what what is happening here? Like you can practically see like a conversation happening in his head, and he's like weighing like the pros and cons of like, I don't know, like different like angle, or he's like calculating stuff. And I kind of like in the moment, we laughed about it together. I was like, come here, watch this. Like, what are you doing? Like, does this look like somebody who's focusing on like using their body? And he's probably a little bit embarrassed, which I feel kind of bad about. But it was done good naturedly, just poking fun at him a little bit because it was so obvious that his mind was in a completely different place. And so that's in a nutshell, like my message for you today is it's so easy, even with a coach standing there and knowing you're being recorded, it's so easy for the mind to just get right back on the rails that it was on. It's so easy for the mind to just want to go right back to whatever the comfort zone is of what you're used to focusing on, the way you're used to moving, the timing you're used to using, the mechanics you're used to using. If you're not very, 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 very diligent and very conscious about I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, you will slide back to the old thing. You will. Even when it was just explained to you and the thing that you're being asked to do is the opposite, you'll still do the thing that like you're not really aware of doing in the first place. So I just wanted to share this because it was just such a, and like it, a very obvious like illustration of trying to do one thing but then doing another thing. We've all done that. We've all experienced that in our tennis games. And my like encouragement to you is be more diligent about holding yourself accountable to what your focus is than you think is necessary. Stay on top of yourself, like mentally and physically, twice as much as you think is necessary to actually do the thing you're trying to do better, or the new stroke or whatever. Twice as much. It's going to take twice as much focus and concentration to actually correctly do the new thing. So just something to think about. Just a little bit of a funny like example here. But on the other hand, like this player, like that's kind of his core frustration was just being dragged in a million different directions, like mentally, and not knowing what to focus on anymore. And so I kind of had to put my foot down and like show him and say, listen, this is not going to work. If I let you just keep drifting around like in other like places, there's no way this is ever going to change. So anyway, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. I hope you're doing well, and be diligent about where your focus is as you're training and practicing.